Hey, we're Jess.
And Aaron.
Just two normal moms and saved women who love Jesus, deep conversations, and a good laugh.
On Well Within Her, we talk about the hard, the holy, and the hilarious parts of being a woman in today's world.
This is just your space to exhale, to stop striving and start living aligned with the truth.
Because the truth is, when Christ is within her, she already has everything she needs.
We're so glad you're here. Hit subscribe and come hang out with us every week. Let's tell everyone what our coffee orders are.
So I am basic as they come.
Okay.
It is October.
Oh.
Take a guess what's in my cup.
You have
sweet
a
girl.
PSL.
Absolutely, I do. Pumpkin spice with almond milk.
Almond milk. Okay.
Yeah, I can't.
Can't do the regular.
If I do regular, I would not be able to sit here for 3 hours. Would not go well for you.
Yeah, no, I don't need to see that.
No.
Mine is a nitro cold brew, just with almond milk added. I've been on the decreasing my sugar intake.
Yeah, well, I need to hear about your dinner though too.
We went to the Chop Shop for our anniversary dinner.
Which love this. We've gone as a family. We've loved that. Love them
so good.
forever. So good.
And it was what I really appreciated so much after a terrible experience at Chipotle a couple weeks ago where the service was it was so terrible. I laughed. I was like, this is so bad. Like, they were making one girl do everything. And I was starving and there was nowhere else that we could go. So, we were in it to wait. But it took us 25 minutes to get out of a Chipotle.
At Chipotle.
It was pathetic.
Wow.
So, that was my last experience at a restaurant. So, going into Chop Shop, those people were hustling. They were grinding out tables. There were some homecoming was there. So, there was a lot of homecoming kids.
Yeah.
And so they were just hustling around. So I got the pork belly dish that had this potato
Is a
pancake.
So
thing.
I haven't told you, we were there that night.
You went to?
I kept waiting to look up to see you guys walk in.
Copycats. What time did you go?
We were there early because we went to, so Saturday was our anniversary. So we were like, you know what, I haven't told you about this. So Saturday, Brandon and I, we were, earlier in the week, we're like, what do we want to do? We didn't want to get a sitter. We were like, we just wanted to spend the day with the kids.
Yeah.
Totally fine. So had youngest game in the morning, which was hotter than
oh my gosh,
hot.
it was so hot.
So we saw you guys at the field. And so we went home, ate lunch, and then we had just planned to have just a day with the kids. So we went pumpkin patching, which was super cool because we've gone to pretty much the same pumpkin patch since our oldest was 1.5. So I have pictures from him of the same years, and same thing with adding our youngest. And so it's just so fun to see them growing up and you remember what they were like at those ages and whatnot. So went and picked pumpkins, and that was a whole thing.
Kids love picking pumpkins.
They sure do. And
I always forget every year about how much these kids just desperately want to pick their pumpkin out.
Yes. So then we wanted to go bowling. Our boys had asked us to go bowling, and fun fact, Brandon and I went bowling on our first date together.
Cute.
And so we're like, homage to, 11 years, our first date, all this other stuff. Go to the bowling alley. They're closed on a Saturday afternoon.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't have Googled to see if they were open. I would have assumed.
Yeah. So we didn't go bowling. I was like, why don't we go up to the park and let them just run around? Bran and I just sat and hung out under the gazebo. I got to ask him my goofy questions that I typically ask him every year, which we'll go over them too, because they're meant for your spouse or a friend to see what your thoughts are on them. And I love to just ask those just fun, if you could do blank again, what would you do? All that stuff. And then we're like, why don't we just go out to dinner? We haven't been to the Chop Shop in a while. And so we can go get there early, because typically Saturdays they're super busy. And then we'll pop down over the hill, go to church, and we'll just have a day of it. So I was like, I knew you guys were coming. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if they walk in here and see us and they're going to you guys are weird. We're coming into the creep,
you're stalking us.
You guys are kind of stalking us a little bit. And I was like, by the time, and I wasn't going to tell you that we were there until I saw you, but I was like, because I had an amazing salad, and I wanted to tell you about it, but I didn't want to be
ruin
rude about it. Yeah, it was their seasonal salad. It was like beets, goat cheese, candied walnuts. I got grilled chicken on top of it, and it came with like this basil vinaigrette. It was absolutely delicious. Like
Yeah.
so good. But I wanted to see what you thought about it too, because we love it. It's good food. It's like a funky menu that you get. Like you have seared scallops as an appetizer, and then you can get a really good burger. What'd Joe get?
He got the pork belly hero, essentially. I could only eat half of mine because pork belly is very fatty, and I was like, and this is a fried potato cake. Like, I can't eat this much fat or else my stomach's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So I saved half, and I actually had he reheated it in the morning and added eggs to it for like a breakfast. It was so good. But because you had said the cheesecake was really good, I was like, Joe, I think I have to try the peanut butter cup cheesecake.
It's so good.
It was very good.
Good.
I wish I would have saved half of that for the next day, but I couldn't save half of it because I was like, this is so good.
It's delicious.
We just totally
just
shouted them out and think
shouted them
everyone
out.
should go.
Yes. highly recommend them. Yeah, no, they're great.
Welcome to the podcast today.
Hi.
What's going on?
I don't feel like I see you nearly enough anymore, and that makes me sad.
I know. We really spent a lot of time together with the children over the summer. And now the children are back in their school activities.
These are it's a lot. It's a lot.
I feel like I don't mind it right now, at least our rhythm that we have right now. But I think part of that's probably because Joe coaches soccer, so he 100% is going to be there.
Sure.
As long as he's not traveling. So it's not like he's in charge of our son that night.
Yeah.
And then I'm just in charge of our daughter. So it's like we can tag team. And,
Right. Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's not like I'm grateful because both of our boys practice on the same night. So I'm not literally living at the soccer field, which we practically do anyways. But we started, I forgot, I haven't told you this. Our oldest started swim too. So starting in October, he's in the pool once a week for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So we start meets at the end of this month. And just the hula hoop of logistics, and then having two kids that are in two separate schools right now, and all of the things, like it's one thing when they were together, like
they were all having Red Women Week.
Readathon was all this one week, but both of them, okay, I can manage that. Now it's also like that mental divide and conquer, as well as like Wednesday, my oldest has band, so his instrument has to go with him. But then like,
oh jeez, yeah,
which I'll get to that.
I'm
story
just getting
in a
used to
hot
like
second.
the library book has to go back on Thursday.
Yes,
That's
so
all
they have
I
different. They have different library books, and in the elementary school, they have 6 days in their rotation.
Oh, that's right. They added.
So they add a 6th day. So each day, it doesn't mean that it's that day.
Right.
Like, and that doesn't mean like Tuesday's library. It
Yeah.
rotates. So like,
I mean, this is when kids have to learn responsibility, though. Correct?
It is correct, and we are still learning.
Yeah, I feel like there'll be plenty of times for you to drive the instrument to school, because I remember doing that growing up. I remember eventually my parents were annoyed enough at me that I was better able to remember it,
Yeah.
but I still had times where I forgot it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I hope to remember when I'm at your level, is that I can just be like, this is a time for my kids to learn responsibility, and I do not need to be in charge of everything.
Yeah.
And also I can be there when you fail,
Right.
and I'll help pick you up, and I'm not going to make you feel terrible about it, but you know,
Yeah.
you're going to have to take the trash out extra that week or something.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly it. And it's like teaching, with my oldest is in 4th grade. So like there's a lot more responsibility just in his general schoolwork now. I mean, the kid has a planner now. So
Gosh, I loved the school planner.
makes me so happy that I'm not all type A. There is some type A in me. The planner, the organization, that makes me abundantly happy. I also have a boy, which they're not
Traditionally
all
about
those.
that.
No. And then my 1st grader, like obviously like he's getting more. So like he actually is starting to have homework. Like we have spelling words and things.
Yeah.
Like I have to participate in those. So like just still trying to find the balance, and we're figuring it out. So
Right.
yes.
And I think there's differences with each kid. And I learned that last year when my daughter started preschool of how my son learns and retains information is different than how my daughter learns and retains
Very much.
information. And my son just very quickly picks up on everything. And so doing the spelling words and stuff, even the sight words, like I don't even have him read them as sight words. I ask him how do you spell this word? So like he is just really quick at it, and I'm very spoiled by that.
Yeah.
And I know that different kids learn different ways. So I know it'll be different when my daughter comes into the first grade season of like, it'll have to look different for her to remember those words.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're exactly right. What works for one is not necessarily guaranteed to work for the other one, which we're finding that out.
Right. Right.
What worked for our oldest
doesn't work for the youngest all the time.
Doesn't work for him.
Right.
Very, very different learners.
Yeah. I think that as we've been trying to get back to routine, October I felt like was my month, and then it really, it hit the fan when I realized that like my daughter has 3 days off school this month, and then my son has a day off that my daughter doesn't have off, so he's home a day she's gone, and it just was like, gymnastics of mental, like who's got what this week and what am I supposed to do, and am I in charge of what child?
Listen, that's why you need Skylight.
I know. I saw our friend got one.
Highly recommend
for
it.
her anniversary. Joe did so good for our anniversary present, though.
He really did. I can't.
Well, and he also got me this.
I wondered if that was.
So this is, we just celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary, and part of my present was this necklace. It's a daffodil, which is the 10-year flower, and it's tin, which is the 10-year metal.
How about that?
He's very thoughtful. He always gets me the medal. I don't know. He got me the rose, like 2 years, a bronze rose. I forget what year that was for. I don't know if rose was the actual flower of the year, but he always gets me it's not a medal all the time.
The textile.
Like,
it could be linen. It could be cotton. It could be gold. It could be.
There was like wood as one.
Yes,
of them.
wood is. I think it's 5.
So he always gets me that and something that, and he does a really good job of that. And then he got me the record. I guess gold record,
like a if a record goes gold, platinum, whatever.
They get it, framed and stuff. And so he did that with one of our core marriage memories from the year, which was,
so
and we talked about this on a podcast, and I said the wrong song. That it was the downpour of May 30th, 2025. We're running back into the concert to Nickelback so we can hear them, and they're playing Far Away, which I loved that song, like in high school.
Yes.
Just, imagining that somebody would think this song about me. It's one of our friends' wedding songs.
Love that it's Nickelback, really?
Yes. Yes.
I'm not judging them. I love that.
Well, she's like, when I told her that we were going to see Nickelback, she was like, oh my gosh, that was our wedding. Far Away was our wedding song. And I was like, that's my song I'm like most excited to hear. And she was like, everyone made fun of me for wanting that song as our wedding song. And I was like, oh, absolutely not. Like I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So it's the lyrics to Far Away are printed all on the like record,
record.
record. And it's gonna look perfect in my office.
It will on your back wall.
Yeah. It's gonna fit perfect. So
that is gonna. What was your wedding song?
Ours was John Legend, All of Me. Which if I could redo anything from our wedding day, I would have shortened the song and not slow dance to the whole song.
Is it really long?
It's like 5 minutes long.
Oh.
And at some point I was just like, I don't like being the center of attention.
Sure.
I don't like people looking at me. I don't want to be the center of attention all the time. Love weddings. Loved my wedding, but like I could have dealt with like 2.5 minutes.
Sure.
But that's the only thing. It was a long song.
Mm-hmm.
What was your wedding song?
God Gave Me You by Blake Shelton.
Oh, nice.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So we both celebrate our anniversaries.
Yes.
So that's fun. And today we're going to be talking about
Prayer.
Prayer, something that we keep talking about in every episode of, oh, it's so important to
It's so
pray.
important to pray.
And I think that for some people, that's easy to understand how to pray and what to say or how to go about it. And for a lot, I feel like it's probably not.
It's not.
And for, our age and grouping of people who are mostly listening to this, it's time is not always there. And so there's like barriers that you have to figure your way over before you can include it as a consistent part of your life. So
Absolutely. And obviously we're going to talk about what the Bible says about prayer. Obviously there's a huge underlining throughout the entire Bible in prayer. And, God calls us to pray. But how important prayer life is in your relationship with God and in general. Like, I just I feel like I could talk about it for days as to how important praying is and what it does for you mentally, obviously what it does for your relationship, because that's ultimately what God wants us for, is a relationship. And that's one of the easiest ways to build in that relationship with God is through prayer. And so we're going to talk about all of that.
Right. And thinking back to my journey with prayer was something that I was reflecting on as we were preparing to record. And I very much treated God as a Hail Mary for most of my life up until I would say I was like 24, 25, where when life was tough, my parents both had really, medical issues when I was like in high school and college. So like really bad, like intense surgery is required. That's when I would pray. It was like, just like get my dad through this surgery or, get my mom through this. So, or, if I had an issue, like get me through this.
Sure.
It was very much just like I need something.
Right.
And I'm going to go to you for it, which
I
think is normal.
I think especially if you are like we talk about it at our church of like kind of the continuum of your faith and your relationship. Like when you are in that like infancy, toddler phase of faith, I don't think that's an uncommon thing. Like
Right.
I don't, that reliance, you're still very much, yes, God might be your Lord and Savior, but you're still very much like, I would say in the world, like you're still like, it's about me.
Yes.
And so that's not, I would feel like that's not uncommon.
You're here to make my life better in some way.
Right. Exactly.
So for a very long time, that's how I treated prayer. And then I was trying to think of when I really changed how I prayed and really put more time towards it. And I think that for me, I started journaling first. Like I journal my prayers. I write things down. If I'm just sitting there, my mind can wander, but if I'm actively like writing it out, it doesn't wander.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what I started doing probably, I would say like 8 years ago. So maybe like when I around 28, 29, when I was like going to become a mom soon, that's when I really mostly started, I think, being a little bit more consistent with it. And then I actually went through the training at church to become a Stevens minister.
Oh, yeah.
So throughout that, one thing we talked about, big thing we talked about was prayer. And the question was asked, what do you all do for prayer? What's your prayer life look like? And multiple people said, I kind of just have a running dialogue most of my day. And I never thought about how that could be considered prayer of when something good happens or something bad happens or you're having a rough moment. Just the fact that you're like kind of communicating that.
Sure.
That is prayer. And it doesn't need to be this big hoopla.
Right. It doesn't need to be this big formal event here. It can be literally a sentence like, Jesus, give me strength. Like it can just be, and like you said, it's just like a consistent dialogue.
Yeah.
But I think, one, I thought of two things while you were talking. I was like, with your journaling, that's wonderful because then you can look back and see prayers answered
Mm-hmm.
or prayers answered but not necessarily how you thought they would be answered. So like you can really see and that sometimes we know, I mean, God is still working miracles to this day and we know that he answers prayers or whatever, but like sometimes being able to really catalog and go back to being like 8 years ago, what may have been a really big worry to you
Mm-hmm.
that now you're like, shoots,
That was
that was easy.
no
That was,
nothing.
that
Yes.
was nothing compared to now. So like you can put that in that perspective category. And again, also it's just calling us in a relation. He just wants a relationship with us. So like having that ability to kind of go back and catalog all of those things is phenomenal. I highly agree of prayer journaling. And I need to bring up that book. Mike, the Bible thing I showed you that I have that has that in there too, that it's just, I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far, as to like kind of being able to keep track of your prayers, like what you're reading through and all of that stuff in the Bible too. So,
well, do you want to talk on the Sermon on the Mount, because
Yes.
that for you is your
is a big thing. So I was just telling Jess, so I grew up going to church camp every year, every summer since I was like, I want to say like third grade until high school. I can't remember exactly when I stopped going. It was like freshman, sophomore year. Can't remember. So I went every summer, and fun fact, I memorized the Sermon on the Mount. I think I was late middle school-ish, I think. So if you've never been to church camp, most church camps run, and that you are like broken up into like teams throughout the week, right? And when you're in your Bible time, like if you memorize X, Y, and Z, or, you get like points basically. So that year, the dean, put it out into the world that said, you're going to get X amount of points for a blah, 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 blah. And if somebody, he's like, I want to challenge you all, that if somebody memorizes the Sermon on the Mount, you're gonna get like 10,000 points. Basically, like if somebody memorizes the Sermon on the Mount, like you're guaranteed your team is going to win. And I, in my personality, was like, challenge accepted. And I don't necessarily realize that was kind of like a cornerstone of my personality until like I've reflected on this. That was one of the things I was reflecting on this week. And I was like, wow.
no wonder I did that.
I know. Like, ugh, that actually, that adds up. That makes sense. So if anyone doesn't know, the Sermon on the Mount is one of Jesus's, I would say, most quoted sermons. It's also one of his first big sermons in his teaching, in his 3.5 years that he was teaching. And I love it. I have always been drawn to it. I knew a little bit about it. Like when I went to memorize it, I was like, I knew some of it because again, so much of our teachings in church and things like that come from this sermon. But obviously now knowing, I think it's like 3.5 chapters. It goes from Matthew 5 to, I think it's Matthew 8, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think.
That is so many words to memorize in a week.
It took me.
Do you have a photographic memory?
Partially.
Okay, so you can kind of see a picture or the paper.
Yes,
if you try to visualize.
It's interesting because like this isn't the Bible I did it with. I actually did it, which I love this Bible. So when you're baptized, and you were baptized in the church that I grew up in, you were given a Bible, and I was baptized. I was 8 when I was baptized, and that Bible was the one that I used to memorize this. When you get to the Sermon on the Mount in that Bible, the pages are so like worn and crinkled because I had like been flipping through it so much. But funny you say that because I was like, I can see the Lord's Prayer is on this page. I can see it in my head and it's down here in this Bible. So it's like, I can see where they are. And it's like, it's interesting because like the Beatitudes start on this page for me. So I'm like, I'm struggling to like see exactly how far it goes because I like, it's not what I learned it in. And so it's just a little bit different. This is a women's Bible, but like that Bible. So yeah, I think it's 3 chapters.
So what would you say stands out as the parts of that Sermon on the Mount that describe prayer?
So which is wonderful. It's a great question. So Jesus, while he is in the Sermon on the Mount, literally gives us the model of how to pray. In the Lord's Prayer, which I would say, even if you're a non-Christian, you most likely have heard the Lord's Prayer, this is where Jesus tells us about it and how to do it. And what is the Lord's Prayer is in the Sermon on the Mount. So the Sermon on the Mount the Lord's Prayer is in Matthew 6 verse 9. And he just tells us this is exactly where this is. So if you don't know the Sermon on the Mount, the Lord's Prayer, it's our Father in heaven, your name be hallowed as holy, or our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name is most often that it's said. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. Do not bring us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. So in that section, Jesus literally says, this is how you should pray. And it's a very good guideline as if when you don't know where to start, one, praying this prayer or something very similar to this prayer, because again, you're giving, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. So you're giving praise to God as you should. And praise to God, I feel like is always a good place to start. And I know we're going to talk about this too, of like how you should praying of expressing that gratitude to God, and just like walking through just a prayer that, forgive my sins, forgive those who have sinned against me, give us this day our daily bread. And that, obviously in the context in which this is originally, it's literally give us this our daily bread.
Yeah.
But we can extrapolate that. Give us what we need, not necessarily what we want, which is a whole thing to unpack all in general. And then the next line, your will be done as on earth as it is in heaven. And remembering that like it's God's will, and I'm praying about something that I potentially would like to happen. May that prayer be answered? Maybe. But remembering it's God's will and not my will. And that prayer very well could get answered, but potentially in a way that I wasn't expecting it to. And that's okay because it's God's plan. So yeah, so I highly recommend just the Sermon on the Mount in general. If you're not super familiar with Jesus's teachings, he really covers a whole lot as to like how a Christian should be living, how we should, be in this, be in the world and talk about how we should be treating others and things of that nature. So I highly recommend just the Sermon on the Mount in general, but the Lord's Prayer is a super great place to start.
It's funny when I memorized the Lord's Prayer in it was 7th grade for confirmation in a Methodist church. I memorized it as like, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And, thine and
the very King James version.
Yes. And so I love that version of it. So even in church, when we do say the Lord's Prayer and it's up on the screen, I just can't say yours because I just am like, I loved how it sounds with thy and thine. And it also reminds me of my mom, as weird as that is. Like, I can remember her saying it. And so I'm kind of like, oh, it's like what my family says.
Right.
So.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And it's interesting, because like depending on the translation, like, again, King James version is this.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time it's actually why I stumbled on this, is like, our Father in heaven, your name be honored as holy.
I've never
heard that as a version. And what version is this? This is...
So like the contemporary.
Yeah, this is an HCSB. And so I learned like my original Bible's an NIV. And so, yeah, I've never like your name. That's why I was like, actually something like your name be honored as holy. I don't disagree with that. But yeah, it's always typically, our Father.
Just used a different version.
Yeah, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. But yeah, so there's some nuances whether you're using debts or debtors, sinners or sins
trespasses,
and sinners, trespasses,
yeah.
that type of thing.
So we did learn trespass as the growing up, but I like saying
sins and sinners. Yeah. No, I have no sin against us. Yeah.
That for me is more just more straightforward.
I agree.
I'm
I
like,
agree.
I'm a sinner, and
As compared to
let's call a spade a spade.
Let's just call it a spade. Yes. Please forgive me of my
Yeah.
sins, and like not debts and debtors and whatever. But yeah, sins and sinners. I agree. I like that as well. But yeah, so that's kind of, but like talking about our prayer and prayer life, and same thing. I honestly I don't know if I ever remember not praying. Has it intensified and also like I think as I've grown in my faith too, is to like you just said, kind of that running dialogue is more often I feel like going through my, is like, you know, we're instructed to obviously pray without ceasing, and kind of getting to that point in your life of like an understanding that it's not, God just wants us to have conversations with him. It doesn't need to be this, I only pray when I'm in this seat, when I have this, and like I have whatever, that it's more so it is just a constant conversation, because there are some days we need that in that exact
Well, and it can
moment.
be happening when you're cooking.
Right.
You know, I think
Driving.
yeah, I think a lot of times I notice that with cooking, I think every mom complains about having to make dinner. It's something I hear from my clients all the time. I get, you know, into those frustrated moments, and I really try when I'm annoyed to pray in that moment of like, thank you that I have the knowledge to cook, that I had the money to buy this food, and even though my kids are probably going to complain about it, that I can introduce them to different kinds of foods. So that's one thing that I've heard, you know, the fact that we complain so much about having to make ourselves food is like a sign of like a spiritually unwell culture. And I'm kind of like, you know, I think it really is. And so as annoying as dinner is every single day, that you're like, well, here's, you know, let me plan it, let me prepare it, knowing that like it is a blessing, and also being like, okay, I thank you for all of this.
Right.
And I'm still annoyed.
And
it's okay that you're annoyed. But like speaking that into prayer and to God, I think is helpful.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
So I was going to kind of tell everybody just my prayer prompt that I use.
Absolutely.
And I just use a notebook, just like regular old notebook. But this was based off of, I think it's called the Back Pocket Prayer Journal. Katie Ersta, who actually lives in Western Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
She wrote this book, and she was a Beachbody coach on the team that I was a coach on years ago. And so she wrote this book, and it was just like how she thinks through prayers. And so I read that book years ago and remembered the 5 areas that she focused in on. I'm not going to quote everything exactly how she did it, but like she definitely, that book was the inspiration behind how I've gotten to where I am with how I pray. So the first thing I do is I write down the date, and then number 1, gratitude. So thankful for whatever. There's times where I feel like every single day I just say, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for this home. If I'm doing this, it's my morning prayer time that I actually have time to sit and do it this way. And so it's thankful that I am able to wake up at this time and have this time before the kids are awake. So various different things that I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's a big thing that's happened. Other times it's not. And it's okay that, you know, it's not always like this big to do.
It's not always going to be this monumental thing.
The like very normal, minute things are okay to be grateful for. Then for prompt 2, it's about forgiveness. So forgiveness in terms of if you need forgiveness for something, if you want to forgive somebody in your life for something that they've done or in a way they've hurt you, bringing that to God in this time. My prayer on this day for forgiveness was for my impatience with my kids yesterday. I think that's one that's kind of a common theme sometimes of,
that's a revolving
you know,
door
it's and it's just not being patient. And I often pray for that one. Or my pride is another one that I pray a lot about, because my pride shows up often and I didn't realize it for a long time. So again, it's not something to make yourself feel terrible about. I
Sure.
think it's just that awareness over
Mhm.
I am a sinner and I am not perfect and I need forgiveness.
Sure.
And I think we can all find something that we need forgiveness for.
Mhm.
So
Every day.
that's two.
Right.
And then number 3 is surrender. And surrender to me is, what do I really need to give to God? Like we talked about that, giving things over to God and letting him keep
Leaving
them.
Leaving them. Let him have it. And don't try to take it back.
Yes. So that is a really great prompt, I think, because this is where we are trying to get control back over something that we necessarily can't have
Sure.
control over. So my prayer for a long time now has been, I surrender my business to you.
Yeah.
And I surrender that worry over to you. I'm going to do what I can on my side of things.
Right.
I'm not going to sit back and not do things.
Sure.
But the growth of it, I give to you. And I really every day pray that I continue
That you continue to do that.
because it's not
that.
easy. It's really easy to try and wrestle that back.
Yeah.
So that's 3. Prompt 4 is request. So this is where you bring to God something that you really want, something that you pray happens, or something in your life or in another's life, in the world. You know, there's no limit to it. And some of my prayers for this were like, help me network well today. And I'm praying for a certain amount of clients by, mid-October. So for me, a lot of my prayers right now are around my business. It's a big part of like what's happening in my life. So
I understand that.
So that's, part 4 is where you ask for things. And then part 5 is your faith in action. And so this is where you just, think about, what can I do today to show my faith, to share God, to, be the light. And I have various different things that I'll think about. One thing, like for example, I said, I will share your story of goodness with my kids this morning. So in that example, when we're waiting for the bus, sometimes I'll bring up on the Right Now Media, the Storybook Bible, and we'll listen and watch that right before before my son gets on the bus. Cause I'm like, if it's a great way for me to start my day thinking about God and praying, like, I think it's a great way for the kids to kind of start off on a good foot.
Absolutely.
So another one is that I will share by being more patient with people around me. Again, kind of, this is all very unique to you. And
right.
Oh my gosh. And I also wrote, I will be thankful for our food we can buy and show joy when making it. I kid you not. That's what this says.
That's fair. That's fair.
When I tell you I think about this, I do. So those are the 5 prompts. And for me, journaling it, writing it out works best. And I stay focused and my mind doesn't wander. If I am just sitting and thinking, eyes closed, it's easier for my mind to go to like what I'm supposed to be doing next and, squirrel away. So again, 1, gratitude, 2, forgiveness, 3, surrender, 4, request, and 5, faith in action. That is my very applicable way that I have worked through things. And what I love the most is that it really doesn't put me first. It's really about, first, the gratitude is just recognizing all the blessings that are around you because of God, because God gave you those blessings.
Right.
Forgiveness, yes, that can be about me, but it's recognizing my imperfections and like being okay with the fact that like every single day I have something that I could be forgiven for.
Absolutely.
Surrender is about not me being in control. It's those first 3 prompts are really about recognizing God's importance and how he's first.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
then you get to 4, which is request, where it's like,
Right.
okay, that could be about me if I want it to be about me. So, yeah.
The only thing I would love to add to that, which I agree, that's a great, just baseline of as to how, and, when you're thinking about your prayers also, and this, I don't feel like is also, I can only do this when I'm sitting and in my
Mhm.
chair, is sitting in your, I call it like active listening.
Mhm.
So also giving yourself and giving God the
Um,
opportunity to talk to you,
yeah.
to being, okay, is this time, is this time that he will. There are certain people who have, like, I feel like, mixed reviews. I feel like I hear from God all the time.
I was just going to
Not
ask, do you feel like you've heard from God?
Oh, I do. I hear it all the time. So one thing that I have found recently, it's one of the things that actually scares the crap out of me, but it's fine. So I have recently, in probably the last year, it has been discovered. I didn't actually know this for a while, but I would have been gifted the spiritual gift of discernment and didn't know that. It kind of came to light through some circumstances. And so for people who have that, you hear God a lot
Mm,
more
yeah.
or heightened. I'm not actually entirely sure. It's something I need to research into more of, is that you are more perceptive to understand. Like, so I have very defined moments throughout my entire life where God has been like, no, you
Hmm.
need to do this, or you need to look here, or like, so I feel like there's been very, very strong moments throughout my entire life where I have felt where God has talked to me. Not everybody feels that way.
No, I can only one time.
What was your time? I love
Oh,
hearing
I
about this.
love this story so much. So I started training for triathlons 2-3 years ago now. I think it was like I was training for my first triathlon. It was just a sprint one. It wasn't anything crazy. And I
Can you
was
not diminish that, please? It
okay.
is awesome. It is
I
no,
just
no,
have a
no.
friend doing like an Iron Man. I didn't want people to think
Okay.
I'm doing like Ironmans.
No, that
I am
is
not.
I understand. I understand that perspective, but also, can you not diminish what you did, because it was pretty freaking cool and awesome. So, tell everyone, what is a sprint triathlon and what all did you have to do to prepare for that? Go ahead.
I actually forget the exact mileage of things, but a
It's
sprint
a
bike.
hefty
It's
swim,
a swim, a bike, and a
a
run.
hefty
It's a 13-mile bike
13-mile bike. You
or
did
12. It's a
a
5K.
5K run,
I
and the
think
swim
it's
distance was.
I think it's like 1,500 yards or a mile. I think it's a mile
And in the
or a
swimming
half
world, I hate
mile.
to let everybody know, that's really far. That's
And it's in
really
open
far
water.
to
It's in
swim
open water.
in
So that was a
open water.
fear to
Yes.
overcome.
So, sorry to interrupt
So,
you, but let's straighten that crown a little
hey,
bit. Let's
I was
not
going to say
let's not diminish what this achievement was. So, go
thank
ahead.
you. Thank you for that.
No problem.
So I was training for the running, and typically when I run, I just listen to music, and I'm just like, I need distracted from
Yeah, 'cause
this annoyance that's happening.
running is not enjoyable for a lot of people.
I don't find it to be exhilarating,
I have my
but
moments, but I understand.
my husband never runs with music or rarely runs with music.
Which is bananas to me.
And I asked him why, and he was like, oh, I just enjoy nature and the peace and quiet, which is, I'm like, of course you would say
Of course
that,
you will.
Joe.
Golden retriever.
Right. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try not running with music. And I did it a couple of times. I would do like a mile and then I'd put my music on.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one time, I think I made it like a mile and a half. I turned around, I was heading back, and I was like, I'm just not going to do any music. I think I can do this without music. So I'm running, and I swear to you, there were deer. I saw the deer ahead, and I like, oh my gosh, I might cry. I swear I heard God saying, stop looking to be distracted. And it was like not audible, but it was.
Yeah.
And it was like a very weird, like, obviously, like I knew it wasn't actual words happening in the world, but like it wasn't me. And it, of course, deer had to like be there for some reason.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that was like the one time I really feel like, wow, like I heard that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very applicable to the situation at hand, which I was saying, like, I just wanted to be distracted from the pain of running and the, hardness of it. And then I think in many other aspects of my life at that time, I was just kind of looking to be distracted from like hard things. And so, yeah, that was the powerful moment. And I was just like, man, can you do that again?
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed that
Yeah.
experience. I think maybe like a little bit felt it one other time, but it was never as loud as that first time. And now I think God speaks to me through deer sometimes when I'm running, which make me sound crazy, but
Listen,
it's about, to me, I'm like, seeing them on the trail is like recognizing I'm not distracted by things. I'm like noticing nature. And to me, I'm like, maybe that's my little reminder that I'm doing good.
I feel like, and I could be wrong in this, I feel like you said when you were swimming in the triathlon, do I feel like you had a moment then too with
Oh, I
him?
just prayed the entire time because I couldn't calm down.
Yeah.
So the second time I did a triathlon, the amount of people was so much more. And so when we started, I am the person that can't hold back. So I'm like, okay, I gotta go. Like, let's, balls to the wall, we're going. And that's not how I should start an open water swim. I should really start slow. So I start this swim. I'm hyperventilating essentially because like I'm uncomfortable in open water. I
Yeah.
can't see the bottom. It's not a pool.
Yeah.
I have trained in open water a couple of times in a setting where it's very relaxed and calm.
Sure.
And so that wasn't the setting. And I had a sports bra on that happened then I realized was too tight around my rib cage. So not only am I hyperventilating and I can't freaking calm down,
You can't breathe.
I can't breathe really deep because my bra feels like it's cutting, off my ability to really take a big breath of air in. And I'm a good swimmer.
Yeah, you are.
So I was so mad and I could not calm down. And I literally prayed that entire time, just let me get through this swim. Can you please help me calm down? I did calm down finally with like 200 yards to go. And it was the most frustrating thing ever. So then I like get on my bike and just really got my anger out on my bike. But yeah, no, I prayed the whole time because I was just like,
I was like, I feel like I remember you.
he didn't talk back to me then.
No.
But I could have used some encouragement at that time.
I think you've got it exactly how it was supposed to be though. Like you know,
Didn't go perfect and
no,
it's fine.
and you prayed through it, and that's important in and of itself.
But I feel like that is true with the bringing in like the fact that for me, movement and exercise is outside is a way that I'm able to better connect with God for many reasons. But yeah.
But yeah, so I could give a multitude of examples, but I am finding that's not as common.
Right. Do you feel like you've heard God speak to you about where you're currently at with jobs and things?
I feel like yes. I feel like, as I basically have heard him like just chill the F out and like and it's something that I'm currently struggling with right now as I'm job hunting and trying to find my other job. So I still work at our church, but I'm trying to find the job for the rest of the days. And I don't necessarily feel like he's talked to me and like as the direct, like what I have done so far in regards to like the additional certification I have. I feel like, yes, I've had confirmation that like, this is the route you need to go. Because if I see like a random like PT job come up, I get a very much like, no. And also I have gotten significant confirmation as like, I'm not meant to leave. In all of this, I was not meant to leave church. And like that, and it's like, I get the reassurance consistently, like it's going to work out. I just have to sit in myself, which is not the best thing. But I have a lot of other examples of like him. I remember this distinctly. I feel like this was 2 years ago when like I was going through this in my first like job transition. I was driving down 228. I remember exactly the light. Same thing. I was driving, I was praying and just like talking to God. And, I honestly was probably complaining a little bit as to, I can't keep it all straight. How am I supposed to do these two jobs? How am I supposed to do these, whatever. And I got God said, you're not meant to do it alone. And it like those exact words, you're not meant to do it all by yourself. And it was like, oh, you're right.
Right.
You're exactly right. And give it to me.
Right.
And like that's one of those I just got goosebumps because like again I have several examples throughout my
Right.
life where I have had that very definitive like you are not meant like
Yeah.
just like that yes he has spoken to me very explicitly.
Do you feel like it's audible but not audible? Or how do you
Yes.
interpret? Okay.
I feel like it like because in my head I have ADD and so like I'm a literal squirrel in here like it's all the time. And so for me when I feel like he talks to me it disrupts that.
Interesting. Okay.
It is very profound. It is very like yes, I'm not like it's not just like me and my internal dialogue of like oh, I need to do this. I need to do this and this. It is very profound and it's not honestly, it's not my voice. Like I feel like I have a, it's not my voice.
But you couldn't describe it.
No.
Yeah.
Because I know it's
That's exactly how I feel about that one time.
Yeah,
It's like
it's not my voice of like my internal dialogue voice. And like I said, it stops everything in my head. But then I have like I feel like I get degrees, if that makes sense. There are times that I get like nudges to being like if I get things repeatedly back into my head, sometimes I get that too of like most often it's a straight disruption of all the things in my head stop.
Yeah. Well, and this brings up, okay, we're going to just go to a swirl to another episode about this because one thing that had always bothered me was when people said they were like praying about something and they were going to wait to see what God had to say about it or hear from God. Because for so long I was like, I ain't ever heard from him. Like, what do you mean? Does he talk to you? I'm very confused how you people go about this. Like, and the book Whisper was one
so good.
that was so good. So
that's one I think we need to talk. Like, we probably need to talk about in general and have probably multiple episodes on that one.
Right. And
yeah, absolutely.
But knowing that God, so that's how you hear him consistently. That's how I got to hear him that one time, which is beautiful. But God talks to you in various different ways through scripture, desires, doors, opportunities, dreams, people, promptings, and then pain, I think, is one of them. So we'll have to do an episode on the book Whisper.
On the Whisper. It's
I feel
super
like
good.
The woman listening to this, somebody might be like, yeah, that'd be great if he could just like speak into me.
Clearly. And
but understand that like, there are so many ways he speaks and it's not always audible.
It's not always directly that profound.
And for the most part, for me, it's not audible. You know, I hear God and I feel like he has helped me go in different directions throughout my life through other ways, mostly the doors and other people, more so than like that really cool experience of hearing him, even though I would love for that to happen more often.
I mean, and like I say, this is not like I hear from him every day. Like I don't want anyone to get the perception like I said, I'm still learning a whole bunch. And this spiritual gift, one of our executive pastor at our church also has the spiritual gift. Actually, I call him my Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's teaching me a lot about this, and I'm a Jedi in training. It's kind of our joke with each other.
There's so many Star Wars nerds at church.
So many, because there's actually a ton of biblical reference from Star Wars into this. But and so my mind gets blown every single time I'm around, and we do these things. So I'm still learning a ton. But like being so much of it is being open and aware. Like I have, there are several, I probably can count on like one hand or two hands of like those finite, like absolute heard, do this, like commands from God. But it's also being aware to, like you said, doors, a consistent, like if it's a consistent theme that's being brought up repeatedly, that like it's not of you. Like when I approached Kristen about the special needs ministry, that was not of me, and it kept getting brought up because I would push it away, be like, no, I'm not, I can't, I don't want to do that. And it gets like so understanding that it's not always going to be this big booming voice from heaven, like do this, that you have to be open and aware that it comes in a multitude of avenues to hear from God.
And then to wrap it back around to this episode being about prayer,
right,
is when you are actively praying about something, you will be more open to hearing
Agreed.
and experiencing those responses.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
if you don't pray about it, I think it's easier to be closed off to signs.
Agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, importance of prayer right there.
Very much of just that consistent conversation with God, because he already knows. He already knows what we're going to talk about, what we're going to say, our feelings on our hearts, even the things we don't say. He already knows. But being humble to bring it to him, there's so much strength in that as well. And just continuing to build that relationship is what he wants from us anyways.
Right. And since we're also mostly moms listening to this, something that my husband and I have really prioritized is teaching the kids how to pray. And at this point, like, we pray every night before we go to bed. And a lot of times, like, they focus on their gratitude for something good that happened. They might pray that something good happens tomorrow and their thankfulness for our family. And my gosh, every single day, both of them go through the list of the people in our family. And so it's mom, dad, sister, brother, and dog. So
I love
Olivia,
it. I love it. OP
Sour
is on
Patch,
me.
Elsa, and Cece, who was our beta fish, who died like a year and a half ago. They both still include Cece in prayers wherever she is.
Wherever,
is what they say.
whatever pipe she may be in.
I'm like, are they ever going to stop talking
Probably not.
about this beta fish? I don't think so. So that makes me laugh, like, almost every night that Joe and I will look at each other like they're still talking about this fish. Like, this is crazy. But it's because it's habit and it's routine that they still think of her all the time because it was built into their prayers.
Absolutely.
And so what's really cool is as my son's gotten older, he's kind of picked up on how my husband talks through his prayers or how I talk through my prayers. And he'll, like, mimic us. And it's not like a repeat because they go first.
Yeah.
And then my husband and I go last. And he'll say stuff sometimes that it's just like, that is so prophetic of, like, wow, like, I can't believe that your little brain thought to pray for that. It's so thoughtful. And, like, my husband often prays for, like, the servicemen and women.
Sure.
And so randomly he'll be like, and pray for the servicemen and women overseas. And it's just like, I'm really proud that we're teaching them the importance of that now. And then flip of that is teaching them that he's not a magic genie.
Right.
And if it's not part of his plan, it's not going to happen, but we can always still ask.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
you know, you don't want to, like, dim their light, but at the same time, like, I really want them to know just because you ask for something doesn't mean you get it. Similar to real life.
Right.
With mom and dad. Like, just because you ask us for something doesn't mean we're going to give it to you.
Right. And also, like, I mean, I love that. We do the same. And we also do affirmations and prayer before they get on the bus. But what it's teaching them, again, prayer, how important that is, praying as a family, what it does for your kids to learn from you, what it does in your marriage. Because I heard this quote from one of our old pastors, and it's so true. Like, a couple that prays together, it's a heck of a lot harder to get mad at somebody if you're praying, like, audibly praying out loud for each other, like what that can do in your marriage. So there's so many profound things of what prayer can do is truly is wonderful. But you're right. Like, the things that come out of them, and even such young little brains. And it makes my mama heart be like, okay,
It's very sweet.
we're doing something okay. We're doing something right. You know, and that it's an awesome thing to hear their little hearts pray. It just,
Well, because you see her so often about kids who have been raised in the church. I don't know if it was our generation that had what do they call it? Like, not disassociating.
the
but
deconstruction.
The deconstruction of, you know, a lot of kids who grew up in church kind of deconstruct from it. And I just really don't want that for my kids.
Right. There, as Mark has said before, like, you have to do a deconstruction at some point. But if they're rooted in faith, they have to then reconstruct to their own faith and not what their parents have taught. So there is a maturation of deconstruction that is going to genuinely typically happen. But the prayer is that because they've been instilled in faith their entire lives, that they reconstruct into their own faith and not mom and dad's faith journey is kind
Right.
of how that goes.
Okay. And so, because that is one thing too, I've thought of, or I've heard people saying they don't want to force their kids to go to church, or they don't want to, force them to do
Oh,
stuff.
no, they're going to be forced until they can do it themselves.
Well, right. I mean, like I force my kids to like brush their teeth.
Right.
I force my kids to do a lot of things that they don't technically want to do at that
Sure.
time.
Right.
But knowing that doesn't push them into hating
Right.
God.
Right. But this is a part of our family life.
This is like what we do.
Mhm.
And it's important because of XYZ and talking about it. So
Right.
I think we're doing good right now. We're at really young ages. So
Yeah.
I hope
We're still
to-
very much, we haven't hit the preteen.
No. There's
defiance.
a lot we don't know. But
I'm sure we'll talk about it.
yeah.
Sure, we'll talk about it. We probably should have somebody on that has older kids that like is starting to go through that.
So what was your good thing that happened?
Or tell me something
recently?
good. So talking, actually, this is kind of goes hand in hand. So like we were talking about earlier. So my oldest, so I don't know if, again, we're in Western Pennsylvania. This last weekend started archery hunting. Woohoo. So fall widows unite. Here we are.
Erin's husband like disappears in the fall. So
Truthfully.
she is
I
a
have-
little salty towards hunting season.
I have two stories about fall widows. Actually, I have a lot of stories about being a fall widow, but I have two things that actually just happened just recently. So one of which is my oldest son. This is his first year with his first license to hunt. So he is jazzed like nobody's business. Sunday morning, my husband and my oldest get up, go into we have stands on our property. They saw a couple of deer, but didn't see anything within range and whatever. So they come home. And so that night we always do, what was the best part of your day? What was the worst part of your day? And, we talk about through that and we pray. And so my husband was doing it with our youngest while I was doing it with our oldest. And then sometimes we flip, and it's interesting, like what changes between parents too. So we always like to confirm like, hey, was it this? And they're like, no, it completely changed for me, whatever. So my youngest son, I'm so grateful for his heart because he's just a teddy bear. He is a giant of a human. Most people confuse him as like kids 2-3 times older than he is. But he has this heart that I pray. One of those things that I pray is that the world does not take this heart from him because he has such a kind heart. So he was telling my husband his worst part of his day was that his dad and his older brother didn't get a deer that day.
Aw.
And it just is like, you think they're not watching sometimes, you think that they're not aware, but for him to like acknowledge that, for him to acknowledge how excited his dad and his brother were for this. And he sat on the couch and watched TV all morning. He was in his happy place. But for him to be like, I acknowledge how much excited you were for that and the empathy I have towards you towards that.
For it not happening.
And that bothers me. I'm just like, okay, dude, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What about you?
So mine is that I ran a 10K that I didn't want to run and I finished.
And we're so proud of you for that.
So the running group that did the relay marathon in May all decided we were going to do the great race in Pittsburgh 2 weekends ago.
2 weekends ago.
And my husband signed up for it as well. Everybody signed up. I just want to be clear. Everybody signed up. You know who went? Just me.
Just Jess.
And my husband went
Jess.
from this little group. Everyone bailed. Everyone had reasons. But I didn't want to run it either. I was getting over being sick, so I didn't have much energy. My husband was catching what sickness I had. So his energy was starting to tank. So we wake up Sunday morning and I'm like, hey, do you not want to run? Because you seem
give him
really
the out.
sick.
You gave him the out.
His exact words were, Brian's don't quit. We're going.
Tell him about the sleep score too.
Oh, his sleep score. What was it again?
It was like 29.
It was like a
It was the
29 out of
worst I think
100.
it ever had been.
He had terrible sleep. So we go and we run this race and I have to walk for at least 1.5 miles, 2 miles of it. It's a 10K, so it's like 6.2 miles. And I almost passed out at mile 2.5 because I think one, I didn't have enough energy on board. I thought I had eaten enough carbs. I guess I hadn't. And I think I was just getting over being sick still. So when you start the race, you run up this giant hill,
Huge.
and I should have walked.
Mm-hmm.
I should have walked up that and then just done
Yes.
the downhills. I was able to do most of the big downhills because you just fall and you just like catch yourself from not falling completely
Yes.
over.
Yes.
So that,
Nice quad
thank
workout.
goodness that went, that it was the downhill race. But yeah, my friend's 72-year-old father beat me.
And I said, give yourself a little bit
He
of
is a
grace.
runner.
He's an avid runner. Avid runner. Like
But-
he would run blocks. He would run us in circles anyways.
Right.
So I'm like, give yourself a little bit of grace there, Jess.
So the whole time I'm like, Joe, just go on without me. Just go. You don't have to wait for me. You're being very sweet, but just go. I'll meet you at the finish. And I think I was his convenient out because he did feel so
He felt like
terrible. And he was
garbage.
like, no, I'll walk with you. It's fine. Like if he wanted to like run down a hill faster, he did. And then he just like started walking after and waited for me. But yeah, it was, again, just one of those cute marriage moments where it was just like, you know, me and him are in it together.
You are.
And
you really are.
He is really supportive even when I'm not at my
Brides
best.
don't quit.
Brian's don't quit. We're going.
Just
So
such
we
a
didn't
Joe
quit.
moment.
And, you know, again, I have this running theme in my life that comes up with any of these like exercise races or endurance races and stuff is that nobody is going to come do it for me.
No one's coming.
Nobody's coming to save you. I mean, technically a bus maybe could pick you up, but like I also can't be that person. I don't
No.
want to be that person unless
Sure.
I am passed out. And it just that's the thought that goes through my head of like, no one's coming to do this for you. Your husband can't run for you. He's right here. And you just have to suck it up and go.
And do it.
And I
Yep.
think for so many reasons, that's a really good thing for me to relive consistently in my life. So
We're super proud of you that you did it.
thanks. Yeah.
Because I didn't.
Bitches. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fair. We deserve that one.
I said morning ladies. I had a text, I think, with a picture of me and Joe, and I really wanted to say
You should have.
morning bitches.
I mean, you really should have. We deserve that 100%. All of us did.
So
Because of us 5, you're the lone one.
I know.
It's okay.
It's fine. We survived. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. What great episode. I hope this is helpful
Yes.
for somebody. And I will definitely in the notes put like a recap of those prompts and include the one of like giving space because
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to add that I will add to my routine as a number 6.
Number
So,
6. It's a good 6.
Yeah.
I like it. We are going to close in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father God, we are so thankful for the opportunity that we have to get to just come and talk about you and how potentially this conversation can be uplifting towards the mom or woman listening to this, God. We are so thankful for them. And I hope you in their prayer life become more aware to them and bring them comfort and peace in knowing that you have it and that they're just going to put it at your feet, God. We are so grateful for this space and for just this opportunity that you have given us that we could potentially just talk about you and that we could be uplifting to someone who needs it. God, thank you so much for your son and for your love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Have a great week, everybody.